This is a Security Weekly production. Welcome, everyone, to Stogie Geeks Shorts. That's right, this shorter show is an offshoot from the main Stogie Geeks show where we get to talk about pretty much whatever we want related to the fine art of smoking cigars. I'm your host, Paul Asadorian, joined on the lines via Skype by Mr. Will Cooper. Welcome, Will.
Greetings, Paul.
And we are smoking a very special cigar for this episode of Stogie Geeks Shorts. I'll give you first a little background about how I acquired these. It was at a tent sale at actually Mr. J. Savannah Smoke Shop, and they were digging some old stuff out of the back of the humidor and came across this box of very special Montecristo cigars. I'd never heard of this cigar before. All I know is they looked really, really old. The cellophane was super yellow. They were covered in plume, and not the kind of plume that most people mistake as being mold, like actual dusty crystals. I don't know if yours had some of those dusty crystals on it, Will?
Yep.
Okay. So that's good. This one, I don't know, they seem to have like brushed off because I've been smoking it for a while. But the cigar is the Montecristo Le Cigar des Arts, which is a very interesting name. It's a very ornate box. It has a beautiful artwork on the cover of the box. And as we progress through this segment, you'll see images of the boxes and all of the cigars, which in what I think is some of the most well-documented photography and information about this cigar. Will and I couldn't find much information about this cigar at all. I mean, 1998, like the internet was like really young.
Yeah, no one, like there wasn't a lot, today everyone's trying to hunt down and document limited information. Back then, this wasn't happening. This was a true limited edition that the Montecristo brand of Altadis had released.
So this cigar was released in 1998. Let me tell you a little bit about the cigar as we'll continue to talk about it. The filler's from Dominican Republic and Brazil. The binder's Dominican Republic, and the wrapper's from Indonesia. Will and I are smoking the Belicoso Larga, which is a 7-inch by 52 Vitola in a torpedo or Belicoso. And the wrapper is very interesting. I found very little information about the wrapper other than sources tell me online, and I think this came from puff.com forum, that this was a special wrapper only used in this limited edition cigar.
Correct.
I don't know what the production run was on this one. I did not find that information.
No, I mean, I don't even know if we're going back to 1998 if those types of things were even documented. We right. Like Paul said, we had a real difficult time coming up with information on this thing. But it is an Indonesian wrapper, which I admit when I heard it was an Indonesian wrapper, I
confirmed that with multiple sources. I mean,
yeah, we did
too. Right? I mean, I think Will and I collected all the information on the internet about the cigar, and we're going to put that on the blog when we release this episode. So we'll be able to see all that information. We'll credit, of course. Cigar Aficionado did a review of it, which we'll talk about as well. So you may wonder, I wondered, like, where did this art come from? Like, what is the whole idea behind this art? And apparently, acclaimed French artist Michel Delacroix, thank you, was specially commissioned by Montecristo to create the box art for this series. And I'm told Michel Delacroix, did I say that right? I think I got it. He says numerous one-man shows as well as group exhibitions all over Europe. He has a very primitive style in his paintings, and graphics combine structure and detail with rich color to convey the bustling, diverse activity of the streets of Paris, his native city. And there's a little more information about that. That actually came from an art brokerage site. I found information about the... I guess it's one of his paintings. He sells... This is a painting that you can buy and buy reprints of, but it was commissioned for use on these Montecristo boxes.
Yeah. And actually, there's several sizes of this blend.
Yes.
There's a Corona Gigante, which is a basically a double. It's. I think that's the other cigar we have is the Corona.
No, we have the A size.
We have the A size.
Yeah,
okay.
We have the A size, which I forget the name. I think they call it an A, or there might be another name associated with it.
No, there is an A. Yeah, it's just called the A.
Okay.
You're right.
And then we're smoking the Belicoso Larga, and then there's a couple of other sizes that we don't have.
Right.
A Corona Gorda, did you say?
Corona Gigante, which they're saying is a Corona Gorda. There is a Rothschild, but why I brought this up is there's a size called the Delacroix, which is a 7x46. That's all. I guess it's like a Churchill size. You could say
Churchill-ish, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's very interesting. Yeah. And some of those sizes, did those come in tubes? Some of the information I found, there was boxes of this series that came in these like unbelievably gorgeous tubes.
That I'm not sure of.
And that may have been a different release, but it certainly wasn't the ones that we had, so I really didn't pay too much attention to that. Cigar Aficionado rated the Belicoso Larga 86 points in Cigar Aficionado, which I think was from 2001. Is that correct, Will?
They did a couple of ratings. They did a 2001 rating, and then they did a 1998 rating as well.
Okay, and were they the same or they were different? I think
no. It was 86 points, and then there was an 89 points earlier that they gave it to.
Okay. And some more information I have, it says Pro Cigars, which is not the Pro Cigar.
No.
Right? This is a website. It looks like a website that is still there, but maybe not updated. I'm not sure what the deal is. If anyone knows, please let us know. But they state that this is a big pyramid. It's quite well made, but the burn is a little hot, they said. The Belicoso Larga begins sour, but recovers with black pepper spice and leather notes developing. I get none of that. Black pepper and spice.
I'm getting a sour finish, but it's not terrible.
No, it's a nice sour note. Yeah.
It's not a young sour note by any means, but I'm getting a little bit of the sour finish. And yeah, I'm getting a slight coffee note off this thing too.
I found there was some really complex flavors in this cigar. You can certainly tell it's vintage tobacco for sure. Very smooth. There's no, after a cigar, what is this, 18 years old? After 18 years, the cigar is very well aged and typically will have that smoothness and really let the flavors come through. I don't think it's aged out, in my opinion. They rated the body medium to full. I'm not sure what the strength was when it first came out, but I imagine the strength was pretty high because for me, it's not aged out well.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is not, I thought Indonesian wrapper, I thought I'd be smoking air. Because Indonesian tends to be a milder tobacco, and it's used a lot as binder to kind of just add a little bit of flavor without the strengths. And this thing, not at all am I getting. I'm actually surprised at it's in that, I'd say it's in a, on a scale of 1 to 10, it may be in the 5 to 6 range as far as strengths goes right now.
Right.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of body to the smoke. When you retrohale it,
you're not, yeah.
It doesn't sting. There's no spice or pepper or anything like that.
No, not at all.
And the smoke is kind of thin, although it does coat your palate with a lot of flavor.
That's what I was going to say. The flavor is there, even though it's not something it's going to coat your palate with the flavor. It's not going to weigh down heavy on your palate. The finish is very, like I said, it got that sour finish, but it doesn't linger.
There's a hint of sweetness in there.
Yeah.
I call it like sweet and sour. Not like sweet and sour chicken, but there's a sweetness component and a sour component to it.
Yeah,
finish.
I don't know the specific tobacco breakdowns of the Dominican or the Brazilian tobacco in here. I'd be curious to see what's kind of at play here.
Well, that's a lot about that cigar and probably all we know so far. What we're going to do is Will and I are going to continue to smoke it, and we're going to come back and we're going to give you a rating on it and tell you how the cigar is finishing up for us.
Yep.
Welcome back. Will and I are smoking our Montecristo. What is this called? It's French. Les Cigars des Arts. That's right. This is a vintage cigar from 1998, and Will and I are. I'm a little more than halfway through. Will, you're about halfway through, and I've smoked this cigar before. I may have smoked 2 of them because they're really good.
They're really good.
A lot of nice, nuanced flavors I get from this cigar, Will. It's tough for me to pick out all the flavors. It's doing a great job of coating my palate with like this nice kind of like sweetness, like a little bit of maybe citrus. Like there's a lot going on in this cigar. You got to really pay attention to it. to get some of those nuanced flavors. But the blend really came together with all this age, and I'm really impressed how well this tobacco is aged, especially in this Vitola. So, Will, what are your thoughts and assessment so far?
A lot of complexity on a cigar this old. I'm getting some of those very subtle citric notes. I'm getting a bit of a chocolate note on this. There's a slight mineral component I'm getting on this thing too, which is it's not overwhelming by any means, but it actually kind of balances out the flavor profile well. I think the Belicoso format is awesome with this cigar. Actually, I like the way
I do too. And I was going to say I smoked the A, and it's good, but I like the torpedo better, which is why I chose the torpedo for this segment.
Yeah, and no burn issues whatsoever. The ash is actually it's actually a nice thick whiter ash that's coming on here as well.
I do find that the wrappers on these are very fragile. In fact, I had to do some repair on some ones that I was smoking. But the cigar's 18 years old.
It's a fragile, but it's a thicker wrapper. It's not a thin wrapper, but it is a fragile. I would agree with you on that because
yeah, like my wrapper's kind of coming off a little bit. But I mean, it's a handmade product, and it's an old cigar. So if you got to take a little bit of cigar glue, for lack of a better term, which we're going to do a segment on that as well, to repair it, they smoke just fine. So
yeah, it's there's a smoke production is light, but there's smoke production. It's not like you're not going to get smoke, but it's a thinner. It's not a thick billowing smoke, but it's a thinner smoke, and there's smoke present. That's the better way to put it.
Yeah. So having only smoked a version of this cigar that's 18 years old, what is your rating of this cigar, Will?
Oh, it's a box split.
I would call the Belicoso box worthy.
Okay.
Yeah, I would call this box worthy.
You spoke two of them, though. I mean, it's close. I mean, I definitely would say, it's somewhere in between. If you're really, I would say get this cigar if you can find it. Get multiples of them. And if you're really a vintage person, get the box.
It's not a fight Chuck Norris or an Oasis. And you think vintage cigar, it's 18 years old, it could easily fall into those categories. But I was glad that we were close with our rating because I didn't feel it was on the high end of our rating spectrum, even given all of the history behind the cigar, the age, the specialty of the wrapper, the limited edition, the beautiful artwork, all those things. You're like, wow, this could really be. Not that the artwork plays into how the cigar tastes, but I think that it had all the makings, certainly, to be a fight Chuck Norris or a Oasis rated cigar. But I think box split and box worthy is where I'd put this cigar. I would put a caveat on that if you can find them, it's a pleasure to smoke. It's an interesting smoking experience. It's fun to smoke a cigar.
Yep.
That's 18 years old, to find the history about it. So I had a lot of fun. I was glad that we were able to gain access to this cigar. I want to thank Mr. J. Savannah Smoke Shop for having that auction sale and bringing out some special cigars. And we've got more that came from that same auction that we're going to be talking about. We talked about a few on the show, which I talked about this on the show because at the time I didn't have enough to send you. And Big Pete actually gave me a couple more.
Yeah,
so I gotta send you some of those Cuesta Rays, but we do have a couple more vintage ones to smoke, which will be fun.
Yeah, I mean, kind of summing it up on my end. I don't know what they ended up going for. This was a $14 cigar, which for vintage, this thing held up very well. It did not run out of gas, did not age out, like you said. So if you kind of someone, I know if someone you like things what's new. Here's a what's old that you probably haven't had before. Try, if you see it, definitely pick these up.
Absolutely. And as evidence by how we acquired them, you may find a retailer that has some of these in their vintage collection.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, thanks everyone for watching Stogie Geeks Shorts. Make sure you go to stogiegeeks.com to find out all of our shows and information about them in the complete show archive. And check out cigar-coop.com for all the latest cigar news and reviews. Thanks everyone for watching.